You walk into a room and immediately wonder if you're in the way. You say something and replay it for hours. You feel too much, apologize too often, and shrink a little every time someone sighs. You always ask yourself, did I do something wrong? And the truth? You've been asking that question for years, without ever realizing it started somewhere. Maybe it began when you were little, when the adults didn't know how to hold their own pain, so they handed it to you. When you were told to be quiet, stop crying, stop making things worse, as if your emotions were problems, as if your very presence caused discomfort. You weren't the problem. You were just a mirror, and what they saw in you scared them. So you learned to scan every room. You became a master at predicting moods, at adjusting your tone, your words, your very self, just to keep things calm. Not because you were wrong, but because you were scared of what might happen if they thought you were. You stopped asking for what you needed, because somewhere deep down you believed needing things makes me difficult. You tried to be good, to be easy, to be useful, to never cause trouble. You smiled when you were breaking, laughed when you wanted to scream. You became whoever they needed you to be, because being yourself never felt safe. And no one noticed. No one asked what it cost you, because from the outside you looked fine, but inside you were exhausted, lonely, disconnected, even from yourself, because pretending all the time eventually makes you forget who you are. You began thinking, maybe I am too much. Maybe I ruin things. Maybe the silence is because of me. But no one told you that sometimes people pull away because they don't know how to stay, that their reactions aren't reflections of your worth. You were just a kid. You were sensitive, not wrong. You felt deeply, and they didn't know how to handle that, so they called it drama, or weakness, or selfishness. But it wasn't. It was your strength, misunderstood. You deserved to be held, not hushed, to be understood, not managed, to be comforted, not corrected. You deserved safety, but you learned survival. And now, every time something feels off, you assume it's your fault, because you were trained to. Even now, you over-explain. You say sorry before you speak. You panic when someone goes quiet. You chase people who mistreat you, not because you're weak, but because you're still trying to fix what broke you, still trying to earn the love you should have been given freely. But what if you're not broken? What if you're just wounded? What if healing isn't about changing who you are, but remembering who you were before the world told you otherwise, before you were blamed, before you were shamed, before you started apologizing for existing? There's a voice inside you, the real one, the one that says, you're okay. You're not too much. You're allowed to take up space. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. That voice may be quiet now, but it's yours, and it's waiting to be heard. You're not unworthy. You're not the cause of every conflict. You don't have to explain your pain to be believed. You don't have to earn the right to rest. You are not the problem. You never were. And healing is remembering that every time the doubt returns. Subscribe for weekly stories that remind you, you were never too much. You were just never shown how much you mattered.